Hi boys and girls, I am reading you the last story from Reading Street, and I'm really sad because I wish we could be here doing it, but we can't, so I'm going to read it to you. It is one of my favorites, Henry and Mudge, and there are two characters always getting into something, so I can't wait to hear what they get into here. Our genre is realistic fiction, and you know what that means. It means that it's fiction, so it's cartoon or animated, but it's realistic because it could happen to me or you. The question of the week is, what treasures can we share with our neighbors? Now, we can't share hugs or anything like that with our neighbors, but we can share some stuff with them. Maybe a note, a song, a call, a picture, something like that. I want you to think about what kind of treasures you can share with your neighbors. All right, let's see what they get into. I can already tell by the picture that it's going to be something good. A sweetheart dance. Valentine's Day was coming. Henry and his big dog Mudge loved Valentine's Day because of the candy. They liked the candy hearts that said, "You're swell," and "Oh dear," and things like that. I like Valentine's Day candy too. Henry read the words and Mudge licked them off. They were a good team. On this Valentine's Day, Henry's father and Henry's mother were going to a sweetheart dance. Henry and Mudge would be staying with Mrs. Hopper. Mrs. Hopper lived across the street in a big stone house with droopy trees and dark windows and a gargoyle on the door. Henry liked Mrs. Hopper, but he did not like her house. "Are you sure Mudge and I can't come to the sweetheart dance?" Henry asked his father. "Only if you both promise to wear a tuxedo and shiny black shoes and waltz to the blue Danube," said Henry's father. Henry looked at Mudge and tried to imagine him in a tuxedo and shiny black shoes waltzing to the blue Danube. Now, I don't know what the blue Danube is, but Miss Carter does, and she told me about it, and she said she found out what it was by researching it. So I want you to research it, and then maybe you and your family can do the blue Danube, but you better send that to me and Miss Carter because we want to see it. "I think we'd better go to Mrs. Hopper's," Henry said. "Good idea," said Henry's father. "Because Mudge only knows how to tap dance," Henry said with a grin. "You think that dog knows how to tap dance?" "Looks like he might." Costumes. Mrs. Hopper wasn't like anyone Henry had ever met. She played the violin for him. She served him with tea. She told him about her father, who had been a famous actor. She was very kind to Mudge. She cooked him a bowl of oatmeal and gave him his own loaf of French bread. That's a special treat. After the tea and music and oatmeal, Mrs. Hopper took them upstairs. She opened a room that had been her father's. "Wow," said Henry. The room was full of costumes. There were silk capes and tall hats and shiny coats. There were canes and swords and umbrellas. There were wigs. Look at all that. Mrs. Hopper put a wig on Mudge. "You look like a poodle, Mudge," said Henry. Mudge wagged and wagged. Henry and Mudge and Mrs. Hopper spent most of the evening in the costume room. They had a wonderful time. Do you think he had planned on having a wonderful time? I think he was surprised. And when Henry's parents came back from the dance, were they ever surprised? Mudge was a poodle and Henry was a man. Henry wore a tuxedo and a hat and shiny black boots. "I bet you didn't know I was this handsome," Henry told his dad, and everyone laughed and laughed. Now, they did get into something. Look at them in this costume and wig. That's silly. Well, I hope you can find a treasure that you can share with your neighbors somehow. Let us know what you do, and definitely let us know if you do the Danube dance. Love you guys. Bye.